Morning, everybody. You're welcome to Discourse with Jimi Disu, brought to you by MTN. Now, today is an unusual day for me because I have Mr. Funso Doherthy here, who, of course, contested for governorship in Lagos. And he brought out, on the 17th of November 2023, he sent a well-written, how many pages now? 4 or 5 page document on procurement to the governor. The first of its kind that I can remember coming from a candidate. We had a serial candidate in this state who have fought to a standstill, who would show up at election time. Anytime after that, he would bound us to the Philistines. It's in that spirit that I'd like to say thank you very much to Mr. Funso Doherthy for what you have done. You haven't left the masses, as it were, in the cold. Because this piece is quite, I read it over and over again. I had to do a printed copy. And it is a lot of work that has gone into it. Good morning. How are you?
Very well. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Good morning, Mrs. Doherty, for seeing him here. They say behind every successful man is a woman. Thank you very much for looking after him for us. I must pay you some compliments. I know you might not like it, but in all honesty, I think God should be thanking you. I'm also happy that the Commissioner for Information, in a veiled comment, also said that they thanked you, for this work that they had done. But now spoiled it all by going to make some comment about mischief making and so on and so forth. And I said, look, these things we are talking about, we are not busybodies. This is our money.
Yep.
Okay, you drive us all over town for taxes, for this and that. Surely, there's nothing wrong in knowing how our monies are being spent. So let's get down to business.
Yep.
It's the working session that we have with you. In the first instance, how did you get this information? Did you write to apply for it, or did you have to get somebody to get these documents out?
Actually, no. And this is the interesting thing. This is actually public information. So
it's
that
on the website.
It's on the website. We have this Public Procurement Agency Act, and one of the things it provides is that significant public contracts must be disclosed, should be reported on.
Yes.
So there's actually a website. It's a PPA website that lists monthly basis.
And that's where you just picked it from.
That's where we just picked it out from. Took the 2 quarters, that is quarter, third quarter, and we looked through. I just highlighted and think should be scrutinized.
So we say we are thinking now you set up a team.
We have small teams.
I just wanted
Sure.
It's important to stress that, and it's also important to stress that a lot of what is in this document really is history.
Yes.
And so I know why. Well, I can understand why people are so, especially the government officials, is an adversary. The claim about the law, this meant to is not in this document.
No, it's not. You recall I said we looked at second quarter and third quarter. So now in response to what we put out,
yes,
someone who additional work or whatever now picked out that and reported it or commented on it, and but that was a payment that fell into the first quarter.
Oh, I see.
Of the year in question.
Do you want to see what more you can dig in the first quarter?
Well, I mean, we can look into that. I've gone back and looked at that specific issue
of the
lawsuit.
The lawsuit.
So there are in fact 4 awards of 50 million each to 4 different law firms, being an award for instruction to defend the governor and 42 others. The lawsuit filed by the PDP. This is a particular matter that had to do with the validity of their jobs coming into the election. So clearly a time which government has no business paying. And which government is in. Now, I noticed that the commissioner alluded to this point and made that, yes, there was an award. The governor did not approve it, and that no payments were made on that award. Well, that remains to be seen. But even if that were the case, you have to ask a question: how did it get even to in the first place? Because there are process, documents, there are approvals that have to happen if you issue an award.
I mean, I'm hoping that the governor it made me feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
The last time I heard commissioner, because it's in my field, the easiest thing would be to say that we will investigate this and find out how this happened, and you just browse over it and know that it's hope that it might die a natural death. But I feel insulted response as a senior Lagosian. I feel insulted with the triviality also in which they handle the issue of the chickens.
Yes.
Every kobo of the government must be accounted for.
Absolutely.
That's what I've been told since must be accounted for and must be treated with the respect that it deserves.
Yes, and you must also treat the people with the respect that they
deserve. Yes.
And some of these comments speak more to the regard in which the people are held by those in
No, but
authority.
the people are not held in any regard.
Yeah, this is my point. So, for
I
example,
don't know if you are different, but I have that for all politicians. That okay is when they want your votes, they buy bowling with you and buy corn and whatever.
Okay, I'm different.
Yeah, different. I'm beginning to think so.
So if you take the point, I just use just as an example of this point that we're talking about. One of the items is the purchase of a bulletproof Lexus for 440 million naira or so.
Yes, I think I
now,
it.
yes. So as a government, do you need a bulletproof car? It may well be that you do. And, maybe there's a justification for having a bulletproof car and so on and so forth. But the response when a question is raised to say that, look, this is a lot of money to spend at a time like this when people are in difficult circumstances and so on. If you look at the report, the response that the PPA gave was basically a one-liner to say, this is in tandem with the economic realities of the time.
It's not. Because
the economic realities of the average Nigerian is hardship, is hunger.
Even as is.
Yes.
Even as is, we've now seen from the National Assembly at least that you can buy that same car for 160.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
right. Yeah. That's it.
Well, I don't know if those are bulletproof.
No, they're bulletproof.
Are they?
Yes,
Okay.
they're bulletproof. How much would an ordinary Lexus cost anyway?
Well, I'm not a car dealer.
No,
so
I have one, but mine is an old Tokuba one.
but generally, these cars, I don't know, cost maybe $100,000, maybe,
Yeah,
maybe
but it's, of course, look, I need a translator from you don't speak Yoruba, do you? Maybe I have to translate it to Igbo before I not translate it to These things always happen until we put a premium on finding out how parties are funded. You'll always have things like this. Apart from the corrupt practices, of course, that might go with it. Until we put a premium and pay serious attention to party funding, it's going to be coming from things like this.
Yeah.
Let me look at some of the items here that I found quite interesting. There's one of the blue line.
Yes.
And that you raised some concerns about that, so I'll just, because we don't have that much time, we're 15 minutes gone. You raised an alarm about consultancy service for the update of the Strategic Transport and Mobility Master Plan, and you gave suggestions for that. I think the first one that I marked is the consultancy services for the detailed engineering design and supervision of construction of quality bus corridor, package 1, and so on and so forth. It says, and you say here, AEC appears to be a recurring feature across a number of very substantial Lamata and Lagos State government contract awards. It is not apparent from evidence in the public domain that projects AEC has undertaken outside of Lagos State projects justify the prominence accorded it. Do you know who AEC is?
Well, actually, I don't really know who AC is, but if you do a public search on advanced engineering consultants, at the
it's a private company.
At the CSE, yes, it's a private public search, CSE search on it. You will see that there are two entities.
Okay.
One is a sole proprietorship.
And that's the AEC.
That is Advanced Engineering Consultants.
Yes.
And then the other is a limited liability company, Advanced Engineering Consultants Limited. But the limited liability company was only incorporated in 2022.
But
so
what's this?
Recently,
do they have any connection with this called the GPO group in South Africa?
I don't know if there's a connection between them. They may be awarded the contract, maybe jointly as a consortium.
And what we're looking at here, I'm not good with commas. Is it 7 million or 7 billion?
So this is actually the Naira equivalent. And it's about 7 billion. It's made up of a Naira component and it's made up of a foreign currency component.
And then look, consultancy services for the engagement of loan facilitator and advisor. Consultancy services.
Yes.
Meaning there's no capital input. Consultancy services.
Yeah. So
it's 2 billion. Is that right?
Yes, two. So there are two contracts. One is 2, and I think one is 3.
And
so
it's a company called the Roko Capital.
Yeah. So this one in particular, I think if you look at their their response. One of the things that they've said in their response is that, this is for work that this intermediary, Iroko, did for them to help them secure funding from Nigerian banks.
And so the fee is 2 billion.
So that even raised more questions then. And we're going to respond to their response. But that raises more questions because here is Lagos State government. You are the host government of the banks. You have had deep, broad, existing relationships with the banks for endless years.
Yes.
What is the need to pay an intermediary billions of naira to facilitate loans from domestic, local Nigerian banks?
At 2 billion.
Yes, and cumulatively 5 billion.
This is what you say. Let me read what you say here. Say, this award should be scrutinized for value for money. Lagos State should not be engaging consultants for this purpose at a high fixed cost.
Yes.
Okay? And it says, if deemed necessary, a modest engagement retainer, a fraction of this amount, combined with a more substantive fee that is contingent and payable upon successful fundraising, commercial and financial close, should be negotiated through a competitive selective. Did they respond to this though?
They did respond, and so the response was what I was saying, to say that they said that basically their response, which didn't address all of the issues, but their response was to say that this was compensation for helping them arrange loans from Nigerian banks.
Surely, don't you think the governor can invite these bank MDs for breakfast? They have very good relationships with Zenith.
That's my point.
Zenith and Access Bank.
They meet all the
GTB.
time.
Yes.
They have other.
They're sponsoring, do things with
they
them.
They probably already have loans from those banks, right? In their they already the state already probably has loans from those banks. So why do we need a separate intermediary?
Okay, there's one more.
Yes.
The same Iroko capital, 3.1 billion.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Total 5 billion.
Wow. Okay. What's the time now? 9:19. We'll open up our lines in the second half, so just relax for now. We'll open up our lines after we've taken a halftime, like we're watching the match. There's also this one of Ministry of Works. Works contracts are it will take the whole of 365 days to sort out what goes on in the Ministry of Works. So I will overlook that. Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, Procurement and Construction and Design, PPP for the Blue Line Rail, 9.7 billion. Okay, you just give a comment on that. Lagos State's Registration Agency, provision of support services for the multi-biometric search MBSS platform for the deployment of disaster recovery site. It's captured in all kinds of things. There's this company called Identico Integrated Solution Limited, 7.9 billion. What did you say to that? Let me see if it's...
So, I mean, the reason we raised that point is just the magnitude of the contract in relation to the entity involved and even the budget of that, the entire budget of that agency for a year. I think it's about 3 billion or so. And this is a contract of almost, 8 billion or so?
7.9.
7.9 billion.
Well, there's always room for adjustment,
There is always room for adjustment. So it's a single contract to a single a vendor. And we're just saying that, look, this seems, it seems like you need to take a look at this. Now, there's a response which they've given to this, which is to say, and this is even more concerning, part of their response is saying that this contract is actually part of a larger contract, which suggests that this is not even the entire amount that we're talking about.
Do you want to talk about this distribution of 2,000 chickens?
Well, I don't know what to say other than I did not get my own chicken.
The Commissioner for Information needs to change his approach to these things.
Yeah.
When he went on Arise, he dismissed it that I don't know why you people are buzzing about ordinary chicken. Yeah. Any penny in government you should bother about.
No, we should absolutely
If you
bother.
don't take care of the little... I didn't like that mien that he had. If you don't take care of the little things, you can't take care of the bigger ones.
It's very true. And there are a couple of points. One is not that government should not sort of look for the welfare of its citizens, but everything that government does is about the welfare of its citizens.
Yes.
Everything. So you can't say that you are distributing chickens in the office of the chief of staff, so you are taking care of your citizens.
Oh, I wish we had 2 hours to do this thing. Let me see now. There's this. Let me ask you, Mr. Doherthy, what was your reaction when you saw the placement of the liquid fragrance? What's a liquid fragrance? Isn't it an air freshener?
Well, it's very interesting.
Isn't it a diffuser or something like that?
Yeah, I guess it's the
And that is 7.4 million.
Well, it's actually interesting that of all the things that are included in this letter, I think that item probably generated the most, comments.
I mean,
right?
because it's quite. I mean,
people are less concerned about the billions and billions. I think people relate to this and say,
and decoration of the venue for political delegates Congress. Now, this shouldn't be under. It shouldn't. This is a party. Whatever.
Yeah, well, again,
20 million.
Again, they have comment.
Oh, okay. You have said here that official government funds shouldn't be used for political expenses.
Although they've responded on that to say that, basically it's elected representatives.
Even at that.
And the executive, it was a parley between them and all of that. So
well, we'll let that slide. Yeah. But look at this other one here. Procurement of 10 units. Brand new Hyundai county buses for use in the pool. That is 600 million.
Yeah, and the next line, you should read the next line, which...
It's a procurement of 20 units, brand new Ashok Leyland Falcon buses for use in the pool of the office of the Chief of Staff. 1.5 billion.
Yeah, so that's 30 buses in total for 2 billion in the office of the Chief of Staff. And we're saying, why?
Like Zebrudiah will say, plus including the Lexus,
and again, they've responded to say that, well, these are purchases. They're not for the Chief of Staff. They are for the MDAs, the ministries, departments, and agencies. And, the question you then ask is, those agencies have their budgets. They make their own purchases. Why is this a function of the office of the Chief of Staff to buy 30 buses?
There is something that bothers me that is quite prevalent in our society here. The government neglects its functions.
Yes.
And then the spouse of whoever it is now has what they call an empowerment program. I mean, anybody who's been on the streets like us, who's been to Quayside back in the day, will smell a rat. I'm not saying there's anything, but instead of what outreach would the deputy governor's wife, who is not an elected official, outreach of 30 million, monthly empowerment programs, 30 million. If the government is doing what it should be doing, in the days of Action Group and so on and so forth, there was nothing like empowerment program. Government did what it should do. Schools were free, health was virtually free, and so on and so forth.
Yes, no, you are absolutely right. These are functions, basic functions of government. Of course, nothing stops the wife of any government official from being magnanimous and generous, but you don't do it with the resources of the state.
Yes.
And so, this is, in our view, inappropriate. Now, one of the explanations they've given is that, well, the 30 million is not monthly, it's the annual figure, it's 2.5, but that, whether it's 2 million.
No, it says monthly.
Well, I mean, it says monthly.
And then it's a contract given to some company called Rhodes Logistics.
Yeah, but even if it's 2.5 million a month,
and
it should not come from the funds of the office of the deputy governor.
Yes. Okay, we will take a short break, and when we come back, we'll allow you call in. I know everybody would like to say something, but let's all be careful. Don't start calling anybody a thief here or abusing anybody. Just call in, state your name, make your point, and then let's move on. So we'll take a short break, and then we'll be right back.
The Discourse with Jimi Disu.
The Discourse with Jimi Disu
continues in a moment.
Whenever I tell people I'm a full-time master's student and a content creator, they go, huh? How are you able to do both all at once? You bewitch? No be juju. Na MTN 5G. Ever since 5G came into my life, I've been on cloud 9. I get to take my classes online in real time and upload my videos before you say Jack Robinson. Even Babe isn't left out. Our long distance is waxing strong.
Hello, babe. Can you hear me? Your video is frozen. I can't.
We don't do that here, because life is a breeze.
Experience the wonders of MTN 5G. Hyper-fast internet connection with no buffering, zero lag, and quality data capabilities like never seen before. Available on broadband and mobile. MTN, Nigeria's #1 5G network. What are we doing today?
It's midnight. You're on an important call. Suddenly you hear,
You have 1 minute remaining.
you quickly check your wallet, and there's no cash. What if you could recharge without cash and even get some bonus? Low on credit? No problem. Recharge your MTN line by downloading my MTN NG app or dial *904# to buy airtime directly from your bank account anytime, any day, and enjoy a 15% bonus on every recharge. Yes, it's that easy. MTN. What are we doing today?
And now, we are back on the Discourse with Jimi Disu.
Yeah, welcome back to the Discourse with Jimi Disu, brought to you by MTN, and I have Mr. Funso Doherthy, who has done a lot of homework on the procurement process. Mr. Doherthy, I am sure that you don't intend prosecution or anything. It's just advisory, so that they can tidy up the books. Is that what it is?
It's primarily to hold their feet to the fire,
But
to ensure that they are accountable. It's also to generate a wider sort of awareness, which we are seeing, and I think is a good thing.
Yes.
And ultimately, also, it's the job of, I think, all citizens, but particularly opposition politicians, to hold the government to account.
Well, if there are any infractions, if there are some very, what you might consider valid cases of corruption
Yes.
that are taking place,
Yes.
would you be doing all you can to prosecute?
Yes, I mean, criminal prosecutions, obviously, there are organs that are responsible for criminal prosecutions, but we will do everything that we can to ensure that, if there is need to take matters further, that they are, in fact,
And you have
pursued.
that confidence under the government that we have, knowing that it's
This
is a branch of the government at the center.
Well, so this is the point I was making, to say that there are agencies, required for criminal prosecutions. The laws actually provide avenues for others to pursue, and I'm not a lawyer, to pursue matters where, those who should normally pursue them
Fail to
may
do
be,
so.
may be conflicted or, are sort of impaired in their ability to do that.
Well,
So those can be explored.
well, at the very least, to set a record, this record of impunity we've had for so many years,
Yes.
that nobody can do anything about what happens in Lagos, we need to change it, and that's where in total agreement with you. This idea, like you said, put their feet to the fire, be a bit more careful with the things, and also in giving explanations. I don't like the arrogant mien of government officials, not
Yes.
just Lagos, across the board in Nigeria.
Yes.
The fashion is to dismiss everybody,
Yes.
insult them.
Yes.
There was one SSC to the president who was insulting ex-president Obasanjo in his capacity as an SSC to a current president. We need to tidy up our manners, for God's sake.
No, we absolutely need to.
We need to.
And I think as we move forward in our democracy, when the fortunes of elected officers are more closely linked to the actual wishes, desires of the citizens as expressed through the polls, we will see that happen. So if people feel that, the way they won election is not by getting people's general support,
Yes, that they have to pay their way through
then
it.
they are not accountable to those people.
Okay, so let's open up our lines 0700 993 993 993 and 01465 7190. Now remember the laws that go with the ladies line, the female line, so we stick to the good old rule. Okay, hello, good morning.
Hello, Uncle Jimmy. Good
Morning. Who's speaking?
This is Joy speaking, sir.
Oh, Joy, good morning. How are you?
When I hear all this talk, I'm not happy at all.
I know.
My take this morning is that how long we are going to endure all these things that is going on in this country, not doing anything about it. They just throw it to us. They know that we will quiet, we will swallow it, we will not react. I'm not enjoying it at all. And again, go and listen to what Shehu talk. The last born of Fela, everything he said. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, we'll try and get Shehu himself into the studio one of these days. It would be nice to hear what he has to say. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Jimmy.
Morning, Pastor Ladipo. Please go on.
Uncle Jimmy, the last time I called the other time, I told you that my own local government
Yes.
bought 18 Lexus Jeep.
And I told you,
councillor.
and I told you we need the proof.
Yes.
I don't have a lawyer.
The proof was that you can see the futilities going on in Lagos State. The braggadociousness is my own pain.
Yes.
They will tell you to your face that there's nothing you can do. I see the way they are wasting money now. Okay, the consultancy fee is even higher than any other thing. I asked them in my local government, if you bring this money and use it to fix the road opposite to Relay Police Station that has broken down completely, will it not work?
Okay.
So tell you, that is why they raise more political psychophants.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Ladipo. I'd like to put this on record that when I was trying to put this program together, I contacted Mr. Doherthy first, and when he accepted, I contacted Mr. Gbenga Motosho, which I think was last Saturday or so, and I didn't get a response because, okay, he was on his way back from Paris or so, and so when he landed later in the night, and I told him point blank that I'd like, Mr. Doherthy is coming on Saturday, I'd like them to listen in so you can send a representative who would come on Tuesday. But by Monday or so, I got what was a written response, and it ended there. So the opportunity was there, as usual. You know, they didn't grab it. So that's what it is. So nobody should look at this as being one-sided. There is one here that I am biased. Yes. Why should you complain about this one? Restoration of water supply at the Oba's Palace.
Well, you know.
But wait, I haven't finished. But the restoration was done at 152,000. 152 million.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, the point that I actually raised on this was not so much about whether, you know, work should be done on the Kabiesi's palace. No, that wasn't the focus. The focus was more that, well, if you look at the agency that was spending the money, it was the Lotteries and Gaming Authority.
But why would that be?
So you then ask the question, why would that be? And, you know, part of it is that the reason why you have those things is that government sets up those things to regulate those industries, because as you know, they are potentially problematic industries.
Yes.
And the revenues that are raised from them are plowed back for developmental purposes in the society and so on and so forth. But if you look in Lagos State's case, we have it upside down, as is often the case, where the expenditures of that agencies are far more than the revenues. So the fundamental equation is upside down, right? And then you now see various things like feasibility study for Lekki Airport, refurbishment of water supply in Iga, and those kinds of things. And then you ask the question that, look, all these disparate expenditures under this authority that is spending far more than it is bringing in, that is not the basis for setting up this agency. The project should be broad-based to benefit the broader society, and it should be from the revenues that are generated from the regulation of that.
But I hope, in case my Isaleko people are hearing this, I hope they have water in the neighborhood, because this one is specific, and it says that restoration of water supply at the palace.
At the palace, yes.
And it's one PEC translation. But there's another one, the same company, proposed Adesalu Healthcare Center at Onosa Community, Ibejuleki.
Yes.
And that is another 159 million.
Yes.
You know. Okay, which are the other ones? Procurement of tire clamps, supply of transformers, rehabilitation of IPP renovation of St. Andrew's Anglican Church. Okay, Popo. St. Andrew's Anglican Church. You know, to renovate the church, Lagos State government spent 531 million.
Yes.
And this was given to Vic Jones Nigeria Limited. And you asked a question: why is the Lagos State government spending 531 million of taxpayers' money to renovate one church?
Yeah. So their response to that question was the following: one, that that church is a very old monument. It was established in 1889 or so.
Yeah.
That was the first response. The second response is that part of that money was compensation because they demolished part of the church for road works, and that the balance was then refurbishment cost. So this is their explanation.
No, I don't think this. I don't think this holds water because if there's any compensation, you pay them their compensation.
Yeah.
It's a bad precedent.
Yes.
You see,
yes.
And we've always told government stay out of religion.
Absolutely, and you know it's that is part of why I asked the question. By the way, I'm an Anglican.
So am I.
So this is not about.
It's not about yes.
Yeah.
Because
so,
if you
but fundamentally we have to ask these questions. Now, if you say it's a heritage site and all of that, so yes, there's element to say yes, we have some heritage sites, especially in old Lagos, but you do it broadly and equitably.
Yes,
and it's more about preservation, not renovation.
Not renovation. Yes,
you are trying to preserve.
If you are going to do it,
cultural,
then you do the same thing with the Shita Mosque.
Yes.
Mashalashi Jimo.
You do it.
So many cathedral.
Yes.
Anyway, the church is lucky, and they got. But you see, part of this also is this why, for example, during elections, you will hear some vicar or some reverend say you should. We had a lot of that in this last election. We had reverends and bishops on the pulpit. There's the church at there's a church at Alausa on the pulpit that almost almost became some there was a lot of rumblings going on on the pulpit, and the reverends were saying that yes, you remember there was one of them that said that we should vote for Daddy, and as far as I'm concerned, I will tell you what I've always said. Maybe you haven't heard. This country is being run down by a conspiracy between the politicians, the civil servants, the religious leaders, traditional rulers, and the elites. They are the ones who have gotten us to a standstill.
Yes.
This I'm surprised that there's no musician's name in this list because he has a lot of bills to pick up in Alausa, like I hear. And everybody is digging into the state funds.
Yeah.
You can see the conspiracy of this, and I don't know why the Anglicans on point of principle didn't reject this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so I like the point you just made, and I think it is inclusive. If you look at societies that do well, societies that lift people broadly and create shared prosperity. There are basically two types of societies. There are societies that you call extractive societies, and there are societies that you call inclusive societies. What you just described, where there's this what appears to be like a ganging up of the elite against the people, is a feature of extractive societies, and those societies tend not to develop over time. Those societies that tend to develop and create shared prosperity, where people's standards of living grow meaningfully, the average person, are those that are inclusive in the way they approach governance.
Yeah, it's and these things the gap is becoming wider every day, and the level of poverty is going way down, and therefore we should be very, very careful. Look, there is nothing that is done that is not known about. Who reveals some of these things? The politicians, they mark all these religious leaders, go they do all that. It's the civil service on level 8 that's going to do the paperwork. They will tell us. That's the new thing. If these people don't know, they better just know now.
Yeah.
People will get to know.
Yeah.
They will get to know. And who knows how they might react. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? Are you running in 27?
By the grace of God.
In the same party?
And that's not determined.
It's not determined.
Yeah.
Could it be the PDP by any chance? Is it possible?
We cannot see the future.
We cannot see the future. Yeah, but has it crossed your mind? Have you woken up Madam Monday to say that Mama Lalari PDP ke?
No, that one has not happened yet.
But she better watch what she's giving you. All right, so we've done a bit of that. Let's hear what our people want to say about all this. Hello, good morning. Hello, morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Uncle Jimmy and Mr. Funso, Doherthy.
Good morning.
sir.
Good morning.
Who's speaking?
Hello.
Who's speaking, please?
Good morning. I'm Mrs. Oboli.
Mrs. Bowley, how are you?
Yes, sir. Recently, I've heard people construct as in they were just shouting on social media and everywhere that Uncle Jimmy is bringing somebody because he does not like the opposition. Mr. Funso Doherthy is bringing this to the fore. Because I just want you to appeal to these Nigerians, appeal to their conscience and tell them that what you are doing is constructive criticism. You are only doing this for the common good of Nigerians and everybody out there. They shouldn't see you as an opposition or front that you want to bring this government down. Things are going bad out there. I went to buy rice yesterday. I was crying when I was buying those things. And these people are spending frivolously when the lives of millions are being lost out there. Please appeal to these Nigerians that what you are doing is not to condemn this government, but to put it on its toes. Thanks and God bless.
Well, let me react.
Sure.
So then you can react. I'm not going to appeal to anybody. I'm not in that mood anymore because it's so distressing that the things you fight for, to put it bluntly, the people you fight for, some of them out of wanting to make a fast buck, you know, want to push you out there as public enemy. Good luck to them. We are all in it. We are all in it. I mean, when you went to the supermarket, did anybody ask you which party you belong to? We are all in it. We've seen this country degenerate right from the time of the footballer, and a lot of us suffered for it. And if you still find people thinking that, oh, Mr. Doherthy is an enemy because he didn't win the election, so what? So we should, our money should be frittered away and we should continue to suffer. We're all in it. Mrs. Zuboli, I thank you for your thought. But honestly, Mr. Doherthy Woods is a more, I lose my temper easily. Yes, because even if you bring it down to the tack, some of us have a very good opportunity of not even being there in the first place.
Yes.
But I'm sorry I went personal, but it's so frustrating, and I get a lot of that on Twitter. Of course, you know, I hear there's a WhatsApp group, they give them 25K, and young men, look at me trying to bring young men last week were making good, trying to change careers and so on and so forth. All you do all day is sit down and abuse everybody. Good luck to you.
Yeah. So I think first of all, let me thank you for that comment and for calling in. That's
Mrs.
Uboli.
Yes.
I just want to say that, you know, this is a process, part of the process of bringing that change. When we put out this, actually, we didn't expect the kind of response that we've gotten. This tweet, I understand, has gotten over 8 million views.
You don't want to know how far it's going.
So it tells you that people are getting, you know, more sensitized. They are waking up, and it's a process. And I know that others have taken up the gauntlet. We're seeing the effects, and with time, it won't be too long.
You know what is even more? We need to address those, especially those young cats who are doing a lot of these things. These people that you think you are defending, their children are not amongst you. If you don't know now, let me talk to you directly. You're busy there in a one-room apartment in Ajegunle, abusing everybody inside. Their kids are in Cambridge, are in Oxford. They are working at Deloitte. They are working at multinationals. You keep doing this. Continue if you so desire. Which one be my own? I will not get to heaven and say that I haven't done my own part. Neither with Saduati when he meets the ancestors of Lagos.
And God will help us.
And God will help us. How are we going to manage this water to the palace now? Should we overlook that one? No, I think. Actually, it was the responsibility. It's the responsibility of the local government to maintain the palace.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I think even the question, there's a broader question around water. Why is there no water in Lagos?
I didn't want to mention that because
That's a broader
I didn't want to
problem.
mention that because of say campaign has started.
Well,
I'm
so
campaigning for Mr. Doherthy.
so let's leave it at that.
Let's just leave it at that. There are so many others, but if we wanted to go through this, we probably wouldn't leave here today. But I think the main point has been made, and we look forward to more of this. I'm not going to let you go without you commenting, even though you're not a lawyer, on this new development at the appeal court. What do you think? What does that
Which
portend? The one in Kano. It could have been you. It could have been a Lagos State thing. By the way, did you go to the tribunal?
No, I did not.
You didn't bother?
I did not. No, I did not.
Bother, yes. Why?
Why did I not?
Yes.
So I did not go to the tribunal because, first of all, when you look at the outcome,
Yes.
I was in number of votes. I had, I think, the fourth.
Okay.
And and I did not feel that. I mean, I did not feel we had a case that
Did any senior advocates approach you?
I had a stolen mandate or anything like that. No, they didn't. They didn't. So, and I, I don't believe in, sort of futile efforts. So,
I know, just to make a point.
Yeah, just to make a point. So, yeah. So, I mean, the appeal court thing in Kano, again, I'm not a lawyer, but you see, I fail to understand how can you have a certified true copy of a document that has, if you read that thing, the way I saw it was reported, they are like paragraphs.
Yes.
And each of the paragraphs is like one contradicts the other, which then comes back and contradicts the other, which then comes back and contradicts the other.
Are you sure it's not because you are not a lawyer?
Well,
because you are not a learned
maybe it's because I'm not a learned gentleman. Maybe the English I studied was inferior. But it's suggestive of a process, that certain things happened in the process of completing that judgment. It's suggestive that the process was not a straightforward process to the delivery of that judgment.
Well,
that's what it's suggesting.
you're being nice and polite about it. I think that what happened at that level, in all honesty, error or not, was completely irresponsible and highly unprofessional. Look at the crisis it's created. Somebody should pay for that.
Yes.
At whatever level that person is.
Yeah.
When we put you in positions, I got an excuse, for example, from a senior advocate who said they're under pressure, they're this. If you can't stand the heat of the kitchen, leave it.
You have to leave it.
It just has to be right.
Let me just make another point here, which is that we sometimes in our country we deal with things in a downstream way, right? So, one of the questions I remember asking as far back as maybe 10 years ago,
yes,
was that who is looking at the process of selecting and appointing judges?
We could spend the next 6 hours.
And what brought it home to me was actually a development maybe about 10 years ago. I just saw a little note in a newspaper, in the middle of the newspaper, just in one column, saying that 3 Supreme Court judges had been appointed. This was, I think, under President Jonathan's government. And I remember thinking to myself that there's no public, large awareness that people are being appointed to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court. You see what I mean? If I had missed that thing in the newspaper on that day, that's it. I wouldn't know. Right?
Compare that with what happens.
Compare that with what happens in a place like America. And I'm not saying we should replicate them. We have our own system and all that. But look at the difference. They bring out your judgments. They debate. We know the people that are going to end up there before they get there. The average man on the street knows them.
Yes, it could take about 3-4 days.
Yes,
for one judge to finish his own. And even those of us in Nigeria, we watched it then.
Yes,
even though half of what was being said, I didn't.
So we have to address it up front, because you can't, expect, you get what you put in, basically.
Okay, all right. Let's take 1 or 2 more calls because We'll soon leave. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Okay, Jimmy, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Quickly, please.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yes.
Mr. Doherty.
Yes.
I keep, like wondering each time an election finishes and there's another one coming. And you see those that will term like the opposition getting ready. Getting ready for what? You said you were fourth position, or you would have said they gave you fourth position, because what happened there was it an election? I think we should start now to ask for a better method of electing our, those that represent us.
Yeah.
You understand? The opposition should start now. If you don't want that paper thing, they will carry, and then somebody will now say, if somebody approves of a paper that is not stamped on the line, that kind of. We should now start saying, once we have a good electioneering process, all parties will line up credible people, because they know that it's no more, business as usual.
Okay.
We must start now, because you can't be getting ready for another election that you know that somebody will now call people not to vote. If you're not voting for a particular party, don't vote. And then you now go and spend your time and money and then all those things. We can't be getting ready for that.
Okay.
Good morning.
Point noted. Let me quickly take one more and then you react to both. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Jimmy.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to thank you for giving us this opportunity to talk. My name is Emmanuel.
Yes.
I want to thank Oga Funso for taking out his time to look at the activities of the state.
Yes.
And I'm happy that somebody is actually looking out for us. This is the first time I can say an opposition is actually taking his time to look at what is happening in the government, not waiting for the period when the election will come and go. Because what we have seen over time is somebody will come, some months to election, he will start campaigning. And after the whole process, he goes back to his work. But now we are seeing somebody who is more concerned about the affairs of the state. I must say thank you, Oga Funso, for your time.
Thank you.
And for your effort. God bless you.
Thank you for your call.
Okay, then let me quickly add just one more. Then you can. Hello, good morning. Hello, morning.
Hello, good morning, Oga Jimi.
Yes.
Please, if you should bring this light to other states, please. It's not only Lagos. I had the Imo State, Anambra, every state, please. I'm begging you.
I didn't quite hear what you said.
He says we should extend the searchlight to other states.
Imo State, Abia, or other states. There are so many discussions going on there. What's going on there is make people, make us poke.
Okay. No vex. Will you do that?
Well, I think that my primary constituency is Lagos. And I can't do everything. But what we've seen is that people are also coming on the bandwagon. People are joining the battle. And I think if it's Imo State, if it's Anambra State, there are people like me who are ready to do what I have done. And I think part of it is showing the way. With respect to the lady who spoke first,
yes,
talking about the electoral process. I want to thank you for that comment. It's a very impassioned comment. A lot of people feel that way.
Yes,
we will keep trying, but will we get a new electoral law by the time the next election comes? I don't know. We may not.
I don't think we think it's just electoral.
Yes, and it's not just about the
electoral
law. I think that we have to organize ourselves.
Yeah.
I think part of the problem, and I will just say this very openly here, is that part of the problem is that we as progressive opposition, we make life easier for the people we are trying to battle, because we are not united amongst ourselves. So we are battling amongst ourselves. They are united. And, a house divided against itself cannot stand.
And poverty also has played its own role, the lure of money. I've seen people in social media who you would have thought had a good living, and, this is the way their minds would go, say all kinds of trash.
Yes.
It's sad, but, well, that's it.
Okay,
so that's why we'll call it a day. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my weekend by just staying indoors. Today, I hear is he's already wearing a Man City t-shirt here. I think Man City is playing Liverpool. Is that right? What time? You don't know. Well, I'll go home and know when I get home. I'm all primed to sit down and watch football.
There you go.
I'll be back by His Grace on Tuesday with Sheriff at 7:30. And at 9 o'clock, I will have Yemi Candid Johnson, SAN, will look at this same appeal court. My concern with him as a lawyer is, okay, so what is the right thing to do next? Chief Olanibwekun believes that maybe we should all head to the Supreme Court in one form or the other, but I'd just like us to be educated on what should be the next line of action. I'd also like to pay tribute to our mommy. Thank you very much for bringing him. I hope Izugi Anakara is waiting at home. Yeah, sure. All right, so
no chicken though.
No chicken. No. Did you get any palliatives?
I did not get chicken. No.
Let me say, I don't see chicken. I don't see palliatives. I'll see you all next week. Bye.
Thank you so much.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens.